guys, welcome to another weekly reading vlog. It is April 12th. I think it's about I never know the time whenever I start these clips. It is April 12th. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon. I just got back from Barnes & Noble, so real quick, let me talk about the books that I picked up. So as some of you may know, I do buddy reads with my mom. We've been doing it maybe about one book a week right now. So our next pick was this one, The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy by Elizabeth Kendall. She just watched the Zac Efron movie on Netflix. I cannot think of the name of it. It has a really long title. Now, I don't know about many of you, but I am a huge true crime fan, and coincidentally, Ted Bundy is one of those cases that I always find myself coming back to. One of my favorite books is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. This one my mother-in-law actually gifted me, I think 2 or 3 years ago for my birthday, and I got it and I read it within a few days. And it's not the lightest book in the world. Like, it's definitely a hefty, weighty book, but I am fascinated by this case. So anyways, so she just watched that movie. I'm obsessed with the case, so we thought this would be the perfect next read for us. Does anyone else have one of those cases? So for me, I find I gravitate towards the Ted Bundy case because it's just so fascinating. If you're into true crime, what's the case that you always find yourself reading or researching or picking up books on? I need to know I'm not alone in obsessing over cases sometimes. The next book I picked up is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Can we take a second and just appreciate the cover art that is this book? It looks like an old, I'm holding that upside down. It looks like an old-fashioned VCR, and it even has a little "Be Kind, Please Rewind" sticker on it. Now, I don't know too much about this book. I think the title is pretty self-explanatory. I've read one other Grady Hendrix book, and it was actually a previous buddy read with my mom, and that is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I actually gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I adored it. So when I was browsing around Barnes & Noble and I saw this book, and once again, that cover art really pulled me in, I figured I should just pick it up because I'm sure I'll enjoy this one. Now that we've talked about my new purchases, let me go ahead and give you a quick reading update on what I'm reading right now. So I am still making my way through 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. I got to page 110 this morning, and I am really enjoying it. It's definitely not pulling me in like previous Liane Moriarty books have. I found quite a few of the ones that I have read within the first maybe 50 pages or so, I was very encaptured and like excited to get to the end. This one I'm kind of just, breezing through. I am enjoying it. It's just not immediately attention grabbing for me. And the other book that I am physically reading is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This is a book I hope to finish within the next day or two. I'm really, really liking it, but now, especially having picked up those books I picked up today, I want to get this one done so I can move on to the next. Right now it's falling about a 4.5 star for me, and I will update you guys on a little brief review once I'm actually finished with it. If you've read this book, have you liked it? Did you find the pacing to be okay? I don't know if it's just because I've been kind of picking it up here and there that I'm finding the pacing to be a little slow, but once again, that could be a reader problem, not a book problem. All right, now that we're all caught up and we're on the same page, I'm gonna get some lunch. I think I'm gonna watch a movie. I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty cloudy out today, and I just kind of want to snuggle in and watch a movie instead of reading a book.
Oh my goodness, scandalous, I know.
But I kind of want to turn my brain off. Regardless of what I do, I will definitely check in with you guys later if I have any good reading updates for you. Hey guys, so I just received a package in the mail, and I know it's from my friend Nisi, and I know it contains a book, so I figured I would open it on camera with you. All right. So my friend Nisi bought me The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Get you a friend who surprises you and sends you books. Nisi, thank you so much. And something else came in the package, so I figured I would open it. She sent me a necklace. It says, "Mother and daughter, the love between mom and daughter is forever." She's just the sweetest human on the planet. Thank you, Nisi. I love you so much. Thank you. Hi guys. So I actually finished my book last night, and I just sat down to update my reading journal, and I was really surprised with how many of you have reached out asking to see it and for me to do kind of a flip through. So I thought I would go ahead and film that for you while I update it, and then I will talk to you about the book that I finished. All right, so I just switched angles. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of the most used pages and the ones that you have been seeing in any of the clips, and then I can insert some close-ups of them as well. So this is the Archer and Olive. I believe this is the A6 dot grid journal. Mine has the Gemini constellation on the front. So some of the first things that you see whenever I have included this journal, back at the beginning of the year, I made this 2021 reading challenges spread. So on the left hand side it says Goodreads challenge, and I'm trying to read 64 books per my Goodreads goals. So every single time I finish a book, I go ahead and I fill in a box. And then another challenge that I set for myself is the ABC challenge, and that's just, read a book that starts with every letter of the alphabet. And then I did a little bit of it's not a Dutch door, I don't know what you would call this. So I did Read the Rainbow. So I want to read a book that has the cover with every color of the rainbow, and then a genre checklist. And this is just so I can make sure I'm branching out and reading a little bit of every genre. And then the next page, which is my personal favorite, is my 2021 bookshelf. So for this spread, all I did is I just created a lot of empty book spines. And as I finish books, I write their titles and the author as if, they were a book on my shelf. So I did do this last year as well. And I will tell you, I hate the way this one came out. What I did for last year is I just filled the spine in with the primary color of the book cover itself, and I just hate the way this looks, so I'm not proud of this, but this is at least what it would look like if you filled it out. I've seen some people fill them in depending on they'll have a color code if it was physically read or audio read, or some people do it on the star ratings themselves, and they'll have a key for 0 to 5 stars, and then they fill them in with whatever colors they choose to represent those. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I really do like it just kind of black and white like this, but who knows, I might change my mind. Going to what I do every month, something I've learned about myself, especially in regards to journals, is I cannot do daily spreads, because I find that I start to look at it as a chore, I have to do this today, I have to do this today. So what I do, I create just a month title page, and then I just create the month calendar. So this one, in case you're curious and you have the Archer journal, these boxes are 5x5 dot grids. I do have some post-it notes just covering some personal things that I don't want anyone to see. But for the most part, I write people's birthdays, holidays, appointments. I use this as kind of a life calendar to relate back to. Every month I create a bookish spread. So I have a TBR, hauled, books read, and a favorite book of the month. And another thing I've learned about myself is I do not stick to TBRs. Things change and I end up picking up different books. Hauled are just the books that I've either bought or I've picked up at I have a free library in town. And then books read, obviously, is just the books read. So I write title, author, and rating. And then I leave a space down here for favorite book of the month, where I'll print out the book cover and I'll stick it in here. So this is my December bookish spread. So just to give you an idea, favorite book of the month, my favorite was Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So I just printed a picture of the cover and I just stuck it in there. So now that you've seen, a somewhat in-depth look at the journal, let me know if you'd want me to do a separate dedicated video. I'm more than happy to flip through. I have since October in here, so there are a lot of spreads, and every month I do a different theme and everything. So if you'd want me to do an actual sit down and close-ups of everything and a flip through even, just leave a comment below and I will try to get to that for you. All right, so now that you've seen my bullet journal, I'm gonna go ahead and update it with the book I just finished, and then I'll sit down and talk to you about that book. me again. So last night I finished The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. So I end up giving this 4 stars on Goodreads. There are a few reasons I didn't get 5 stars, and I think they're my issues. They're definitely not necessarily the book's fault. So as I said in the last clip, I think it was still in this reading vlog, I was kind of putting this down and picking it up and reading it in very small increments. And I think that took away from the story. And once again, that's my fault. That has nothing to do with the book. But that being said, I loved this story. I loved the perspectives it was told from. It's funny, this is another book that has very polarizing views on Goodreads, and I was pretty shocked to see what people were nitpicking. A lot of the things that I saw were not issues to me. I liked all 3 perspectives very equally. If you haven't read this book and you don't know what it's about, I'm terrible at synopses, but I'll give it a try. So this is a historical fiction told in 3 perspectives following 2 different timelines. One is in present day, following a woman named Caroline, who has just found out that her husband has been unfaithful right before they were going to go on their 10-year anniversary to London. She ends up going on the trip alone to kind of discover herself. And then we also follow Eliza and Nella in the 1700s. I think it's the late 1700s. And Nella owns an apothecary that sells poisons to women that are trying to essentially get revenge on men in their lives. And Eliza ends up discovering this apothecary, and we get to see her relationship and friendship with Nella develop throughout the story. This is definitely a book I would recommend if you're into the stories like that, when there's a little bit of history that comes into play, self-discovery, and just watching these friendships form. While I have you here, I might as well give you a reading update. So after I finished The Lost Apothecary last night, I picked up my buddy read with my mom, The Phantom Prince. I don't remember if I talked about it earlier, but this is essentially about Ted Bundy's girlfriend, and from what I understand, it's just really her perspective, finding out that he was the horrible human being. It's just her story. So I barely started it. Yeah, I got to page 4 last night before I decided to put it down and go to bed. And then a quick update on my audiobook, 9 Perfect Strangers. I have gotten to page 192. I don't have any substantial update on it. It's still just, it's still okay. All right, so right now I do have some time before I have to go pick Aria up. So I'm gonna sit and get a little bit of reading done.